It is absolutely pissing rain still. Holy shit. Full on monsoon, non-stop. It's been days. Days. Actually, I think it's been this way since I got home from my last hunting trip. Now, what am I doing? Shitty news for me, not for you, but I made a real great video yesterday. And a bunch of real cool photos were sent in, shared them, edited them all up into the video. And the laptop was sitting here loading onto YouTube. And then we had to leave to take the kids back to the ferry and go to the next town over in Nanaimo, British Columbia. And as we're pulling, I go, oh, grab my laptop. So I could try to get my laptop repaired maybe before we go on holidays. And Sarah came in and grabbed it. I wasn't even thinking. I hadn't finished loading that video yet. I ended up leaving my laptop there at the repair place. And the video never loaded. Damn it! I could go through my notes and read all those emails again today, but screw it. I'll when I get my laptop back, then I'll reload that one. It might or might not make sense, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. In the beginning. With whatever I'm rambling about. And what else too? Quick mention. The mail strike is over, so I'm using my Canon camera to record today, not using this microphone or anything. Instead of laptop. And Sarah, for the first time ever, got some youth hats made. And she didn't know what to do to put that off to the side, how to hunt on the side or not. So there's only 5. That's it. They're like a collector's. 5 of these youth hats with the logo on the side of the hat. That's it. 5 of them. And then she decided she wanted them centered. Like that one. And I think she has 75 of these. That's it. 75 of these for the kids. 5 of those. And go, if you want one. Or not. There you go. Share it. Now, I think I have a lot going on in the old inbox this morning. What do we have? We have a lot. And what is it? It's December 21st today. So you'll be hearing this today. Had a couple thoughts. Couple quick thoughts. With the missing children, missing anybody. You imagine you're just I always try to picture things from other people's eyes. And could you imagine the sense of terror and hopelessness being a child, being taken from some fucking monster, and wondering if somebody's even looking for you? You know what I mean? That must really suck. And I just had a quick thought this morning. So I get a lot of emails in the inbox about missing children as well. And I was thinking, would it be something to create some kind of a movement to put a billboard thing up? You know what I mean? Somewhere, signs somewhere in heavily populated areas as a message to some of those kids who just might be able to see them, and just to say, we're looking for you nonstop, just so you know, we're trying to find you. We are trying to find you. You know what I mean? Because I don't imagine they have anybody taken by another monster human being. Anybody taken by a monster of any type. I don't imagine they'd be able to go surfing on the internet, right? So we wouldn't be able to get that message to them there, but I think that would probably be a damn good movement. Don't you think? We are looking for you. And have that up everywhere. Kind of like, I don't know, the Me Too movement. Remember that Me Too thing? Me Too was all over the world, like bang, just somebody spat it out and it just caught on and went. We're looking for you right now. Imagine just having that little chunk of encouragement when there might not be any hope sitting there for you. Anyways, it's a thought. Let that roll around between your ears for a little bit and see what we can come up with. We are looking for you. Stickers? Signs? I don't know. Billboard? In all the major cities across North America and wherever the monsters are transporting these missing children. I think that'd be a great idea. I really do. I think I'd like to see some kind of sign of hope somewhere. You know what I mean? Instead of possibly being escorted amongst a whole shit pile of humans on the sidewalk like you're amongst a bunch of zombies and you can't say anything, you're too terrified, whatever. There you go. There you go. There's my thought on that one. I said the F word. Oh my god, I said the F word. There's something to the F word. It's so weird how some words offend people. People getting offended freak me out. I don't get it. I don't understand the offense part. Even the F word. Who first came up with the F word? And how could they have made it so mainstream to being so offensive? You know, in some countries they say that word and a couple other nasty words that we find absolutely atrocious here in North America, and they say it all the time in Australia, UK. So offended. Oh my god, you said the F word. Oh really? Where does it hurt the most? Where does it hurt the most? Tell me all about it. Now, alright, moving along. Funny, yesterday, I came across an article on that girl. A hawk to a girl. A lot of you have heard of her. A mainstream phenomenon. And there's some article about her and some shit she's got herself in. And it just got me thinking about what people do to become a celebrity. Well, you got to get some kind of a manager. And they do whatever they got to do. And I was laughing. I said to Sarah, she's sitting on the other couch, and I go, and when I start talking about that, I go, what about the celebrity thing? You think to become like a celebrity, you got to get a manager and shit, right? She's like, I guess so. And I go, well, maybe we should do it. What do you think? Should I become a celebrity? And she knows I'm being sarcastic. She goes, I don't know, sure, why not? I go, okay. That'll be something else, right? Book me on, maybe I can get on The View. Get some kind of a manager to manage me and promote me and make me become a celebrity. And then right away, of course, me being the dick that I am, and she's just, typical rolling her eyes at me, which I can get her to do basically any time of day. I looked at her, I go, well, if you're game with this, obviously, the first thing we need is a sex tape. That didn't go over too well. So, end of that story is I won't be becoming a celebrity anytime soon. Because you gotta have a sex tape, right? Anyway, alright, enough of that babbling. Let's get us hearing some voices. Scary Night Swim, Cultus Lake 2022. Cultus Lake. Very close to the Washington State, British Columbia border. Good morning, sir. I hope you have a moment to read my story. I do, and that's going down right now. I was swimming in Cultus Lake in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. I'm a generator operator for some MOW Productions. Don't know what that stands for. This evening, we were moving locations from out past the lake back into town. I was covered in dust, stuck to sweat, and was very happy to be in the lake floating on my back after a proper bath. And as I'm stargazing, suddenly, the unmistakable sound of a large rock/boulder hitting the water close to me. It was a huge splash. I freaked out, swearing, as though I could, as tough as I could, swearing as tough as I could, and swam for shore fast. So, there was no noise of anything leaving the water, and I think it was different from a beaver tail slap. It was far too out for a human to have thrown anything that heavy that far. I've thrown so many rocks at water, it would take both hands to throw a rock as big as this sounded. I think a beaver would have made other noises, as would a large fish as it came out of the water. It had been silent before something hit the water. I think he was at least 30 pounds, maybe even 60. Do you think this could have been a Sasquatch, or do you have another explanation? Thanks for your time. Hit the nail on the head there. If I had to bet, I'm going all in with the farm. It was a forest person, without a doubt. Why did they do that? Don't know. It's probably fun. 2 girls I know had that happen on Seton Lake in August this year. Exact same thing. Now, another quick one. I probably told this a long time ago, but it's just one that stands out all the time. A friend of mine in Whistler, British Columbia, contractor from New Zealand, not here anymore, moved back. Very A-type, and not into this topic at all. And the topic came up, probably having beers in the village after work or something, and he told me that him and another guy were in their belly tubes. You know, fly fishermen use those little inner tubes, and they sit in them with flippers on and waders on, and they paddle around and fly fish out of them. And it was in, Logger Lake, which is just south of Whistler, all right? Right in the heart of it. And he said, I've never been to Logger Lake. I drove up the road that goes to it, but I've never actually been to the lake. And him and this other fellow were drinking whiskey. Is like a Friday weekend. And clear summer's night, he said they were in the shadow of the mountainside on the lake. So it was a full moon, bright, but they were in the shadow. And he said when they came out of the shadow while in the lake, all of a sudden something blew across the shoreline of a steep bank, and said it just ran like a steamroller straight through patches of spruce and everything on the side of the lake. He said the sounds of the branches breaking were crazy. Said it was fast as a horse and sounded like a horse running, but it was definitely 2 feet. And I'm like, well, there you go. But you don't believe in these things, right? And he was with me at about -15 when we were driving over the Duffy Lake another time in the middle of winter, and you could see the blatant tracks. 6 foot stride. Boom, 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 boom. All the way down the ice on the side of Duffy Lake, at the foot of the other cliffs near side. I looked at him with binoculars when the road rose up, and he's like, oh, it's probably heli skiers. I'm like, no, there's nobody skiing down off of there, buddy. You can see they aren't, and they don't. They die in those avalanches in a second. Those are Sasquatch tracks. They went forever, all along the edge of the lake. Continuous, 6 foot stride. Still doesn't want to accept it. No big deal. I don't give a shit. Now, why do they throw the rocks in the water? It's probably kind of funny, wouldn't it? Really. Please help me find the Sasquatch story. It's the title of this email. Hello, Steve. My name is Sarah, and I work in conservation. I also live in BC. I'm hoping that you can help me. I remember being so deep in Reddit years ago and came across a Reddit post about a man in British Columbia who ran into Bigfoot deep in the woods. He may or may not have been working. I think the Bigfoot might have been crossing a stream or passing by and watching him. The man leaves and runs into an indigenous man who was calm and told him that he knows there are Bigfoot in the area, that his people coexist with them, and told him how to behave when he sees one. I'm so desperate to find this again. I don't think the post had blown up with many likes or comments at the time. Some people online referred me to you, and I'm hoping that you can please help me. Kind regards, Sarah. Blank, Sarah, sorry. You can imagine, if you've been here very long, there are tens of thousands of experiences emailed in to me here, and I don't go on Reddit. I think once I went on Reddit a long time ago because somebody started a thread about the how to hunt guy, and almost like there's just it's a place full of hate. It was a thread, and people were just trying to shred the shit out of me. It was really weird to see, but whatever. But I don't go on Reddit, so sorry. Maybe somebody will have a comment, say something in the comment section below this video, maybe. I don't know. Next, 2 more of my experiences from Florida. You ever wonder why Florida is so on fire? I always do. My experiences in Florida. I was 12 years old the second time I met the tree people. I was living in a children's home. I ended up there when an asshole neighbor called the government, who then took myself and my siblings away from my grandma who raised us. When my biological mother had a child, she would bring a total of 4 of us babies right after birth to grandma, never to come back. My grandma was doing the best she could back in those days. My grandpa wasn't around much because he was drunk ass. He was a drunk ass chasing women, so he was never around. I'm glad he wasn't. That's why I was afraid and sad until the blue-eyed tree lady looked at me when I was 6. Take note. Okay, this sounds familiar. Note, please tell Sarah I was one of those hungry children she feeds now, and mine was from a kind lady who brought us food from time to time. I appreciate Sarah and you for your love and kindness feeding families in need. Good to hear. Back to my story. Steve, and I apologize. I get confused at time as I had a head injury in 2010 from a bike accident. I have 5 titanium plates on the right side of my head. Ugh. I think I got one here and I got one here too. I know you have metal in your head along with ringing in your ears constantly like me. I lived in the children's home at age 12. It was terrible. I got beaten more than the rest because I hated to be confined. I would run away often into the woods to a place that had horses I could ride. The road was underwater up to my knees. I didn't mind walking through the swamp to get there. I would catch crawdads for fun. I loved it there. I was halfway to the horses when I heard a tree crack. When I looked where the noise was coming from, there he was, my tree friend. It was the one I saw at 6 years old, and it was 13 miles away as the crow flies from the first time I saw them both. She was not with him this time. It was him. It was him, all right. He had the same gold/yellow eyes. He told me in my head to go back. He wasn't mean, but he was firm. I did turn around and go back, even though I really didn't want to go. I didn't want to, however. I did like a scolded child, and I'm glad I did. It was a few days later I heard the matron of the children's home talking about people that were murdered just ahead of where I was going. I'm grateful for him as I could have one of them. Sorry. I could have one of them been one of them. Typo, sorry. Get it. You could have been one of them. I never saw him again until 1985. I went to the Everglades for hunting season with my now deceased husband. We had a camp in the swamp off of Alligator Alley, aka known as I-75. It was only a 2-lane road back then, and we had to trailer our airboats 3 miles off the main road to get to the landing. We loaded up with supplies and went to our 2-room camp that was on pilings with a big deck. We were inside the cypress trees. There was a hole 30 feet around. We had a pet gator named Ethel. She loved to see us as we fed her the leftover frogs after we cleaned them for their legs. It was a beautiful day. My husband said he's going to his deer stand at 5 a.m. in the cypress. I said I would meet up with him later on my airboat. I was taking my time, enjoying the pretty morning. It was around 8:30 a.m. when I got to the edge of the swamp where he had his deer stand. I shut down my airboat, and I heard a huge splash not too far into the cypress where he was. Then I saw my husband coming as fast as he could, yelling at me to go. Why? I asked. I didn't, as I didn't feel the need to. When he came out of the trees, he was white as a ghost. He was in panic mode. He said again, "Get out of here." I said, "What the hell?" He just kept saying, "Go." Then I saw him. His hair was reddish blonde this time, maybe bleached from the sun, and the same yellow/golden eyes. And I wasn't afraid. Crazy, huh? I didn't have any fear. It was my old friend. I saw him only for a moment, then he was gone. Here's the kicker. The night before, we had a fight, and my piece of shit husband hit me the night before over stupid shit. Oh, I hate hearing that. Oh, I hate hearing about men hitting women. It really makes me fucking... Sorry. He was abusive, and I found out later he cheated on me with his best friend's sister that he brought to our hunting camp. I feel they look out for me. He got what he deserved. Call it karma or intervention, whatever. I feel I was adopted by them. That's 3 times I was protected, and when I hear of all the people that have had bad experiences, I'm sad for them. I am fortunate for having all good experiences. Maybe they knew I was an orphan and adopted me as a child, or as you say, tagged me in a good way. I don't know, but I'm grateful. There's an article in the news press of the murders that happened when I was 12 years old, and I'll find it and send it to you. I will write the one for 2024 later. Much love to How to Hunt family. My name is Truly, a nickname given to me by a wonderful man I had the pleasure of working for here in Florida. He was from Canada, one of the finest people I've ever known. Call me Truly, Northeast Florida. All right, appreciate that. I'm sad to hear your unfortunate experiences in this lifetime, but it sounds like you're doing all right. Sounds like you're a happy person, which is great. There you go, more from Florida. I was in Florida before. I hunted there a couple times. I was actually hunting and filming with a guy some of you might know, Eddie Salter, the Turkey Man. And we went to a few different camps in Florida one spring. And quick story. I'll never forget this, because it was also, you can imagine all you people, you Floridians, especially you hunters and anglers in Florida, if you've been here watching what I share with you, how different it is from where I run around and grow up, and what I've done growing up here, the terrain, the mountains, the views, the game, how we hunt, everything, right? And then compare it to what you guys do down there. It's like night and day. So you can imagine how wide-eyed I was going to these hunting camps in Florida. And it's right away, it's the first one I went to, there's like sand on the ground, which is weird for me to see this great big huge jungle-like forest. It's sand like dirt on the ground, and they had these huge 4-wheel drive platforms with tires like this big and a ladder to get up onto this flat platform. I'm like, what the hell are those for? The hell, we shoot off these. I'm like, what? No way. Crazy, right? So that was kind of wild for me to see. And anyways, I'm talking to these guys, I'm talking about alligators because I haven't seen one yet. And they all thought I was pretty funny. I hadn't seen an alligator. And one guy, here's the random part of the story. One guy told me about a couple of young guys that were drunk, college kids or something, trying to be the badasses. Here's the crazy guy contest, which so many of us entered ourselves in when we were growing up. And the one guy said, I'm gonna swim across this lake, some alligator-infested lake. And he dove in and went to swim across this lake, and sure enough, an alligator ripped his arm off. Okay? I'm like, no way. He goes, oh yeah. And told me about that story. Now get this one. I don't know how long we were at that place. A few days. And then went somewhere else. And then we ended up another couple hour drive to another camp. It's turkey season. These guys I used to run with, turkey freaks. They go and hit the opener. I think Florida is the first place to open, isn't it? They all go to Florida first, and they just go and hunt turkeys like mad dogs. It's crazy to watch the enthusiasm. But anyway, so we went to this other camp, which is a couple hour drive away. Same thing, crazy ass shit, buggies and stuff, and I'm just right away. I'm all over the guides that were working there, and I'm talking to them big time and talking about gators. And the one guy goes, hell yeah, a while back there's 2 guys, college guys that are drinking. And he goes, one decided he's going to be the crazy guy and swim across this alligator-infested lake. And I'm like, huh? I just heard the story. Yeah, well, I got the picture of his arm. I was there to retrieve it. And he had a picture of the alligator dead and the guy's arm. They got his arm back. What are the chances, right? You imagine the reaction for me. I'm like, what the? Holy shit, right? Random to be told about the guy who got his arm ripped off by an alligator. 4 or 5 days later, couple hour drive away, and the guy tells me the same story and has the picture of the arm. There's my Florida story. There you go. Sorry to chop off the original emailer. I appreciate you sending that in. Muchly. And I hope the rest of your life is nothing but happiness. Big time. Emergency help needed from the How to Hunt family. Steve, thank you for sharing everyone's stories and educating us all together. I've been a sub since the very beginning and loyally watch daily. Your way of life is inspiring and encouraging, especially as this world is getting worse by the minute. I sent you some pictures of anomalies that I saw in southern New Hampshire. Unfortunately, on Sunday, December 15th, my wife was admitted into ICU with sepsis from an undetected infection in her kidneys. Now that sucks. I had a good friend of mine died from that. 3 daughters. While I was at the hospital, our home caught fire, and we were unfortunately displaced. Holy shit. Merry Christmas, right? We're hoping that we can request strength in numbers by prayers. There's lots of those here. I'm grateful for the fact nobody was hurt. We are praying for some type of solution to recover from this tragedy. Friends set up a GoFundMe account for us, and if you want to share it, we could humbly use any help. Prayers are needed. Please, How to Hunt family. God bless you and the How to Hunt family. Much love and respect, Ronnie and Renee. And here's a link. See if it opens up. There it is. You know, what am I doing here? This cookies thing is in my face. Get out of here. Okay, it's obviously brand new. Is there a title here for it or something? Hold on a minute. Where are we? Alright. Can you guys see this? I don't have my laptop, so it's going to be a little challenging for me. Is that even it? Hold on a minute. I think I can do my hand. Focus on that. There we go. Can you guys read that? Should be able to read that. Alright, there is somebody in need. There's a lot of people in need. But, you know what? Sometimes you just never know. There's always going to be somebody from here that can possibly help. Alright? There you go. Share it. Shared it. If I can remember, once I go in and try to figure out how I'm going to edit this up on Sarah's laptop, I'm going to get that link in there. Hopefully I remember because my brain's a little frazzled. But there you go. I'll guarantee you're going to get about 50,000 prayers by dinner time tonight. Maybe a bunch of people can throw some money your way. No shortage, right? No shortage of misfortune, bad luck. But we help when we can. Mark, this is red. Excuse me. Hunting in South Georgia. Title of this email. Steve, thank you for everything you're doing. You'll never know how much this helps. I'm getting a good idea. You can share my first name, Jimbo. I live in Carrollton, Georgia. Carrollton, Georgia. Back in the late 80s, we used to hunt just outside a little town of Adrian, Georgia, just south of Dublin, Georgia. It was the best hunting club I've ever been a part of. Everybody there were like family. A good buddy of mine and I built a stand back in a part of the woods nobody ventured into. He harvested a good buck in there, and I also harvested the best buck I've ever taken in there. A nice 8-point. But more than that, it was it was with my father before he passed away, which made it more special. Every time I hunted in that area, I felt like I was being watched. One evening, everything went silent. Just like Dave and yourself have said. I just froze and didn't move until the sound, came back. By the time the sound came back, it was almost dark 30. So I got down, headed back to camp at a quick pace. The hair on the back of my neck was standing on end. And just as I got up to the dirt road, something growled so loud you could feel it. And I did. I heard you read emails that many people have said the same thing. Yet every time you read it, it brings back memories, and I can still hear and feel it. Although I never saw it, I definitely heard and felt it. My legs felt like jello. I did not know what it was, and I really didn't want to find out. I didn't want to stop. Although I was not moving very fast then, I kept trying to move. Not run, but move, and shaking the whole time. By the time I got back to camp, I was sweating and edgy. I never heard it follow while I was on the dirt road, but I don't know if I could have heard it if I did. I was so scared. And one thing on my mind, get back to camp. I asked a few guys if anybody's seen or heard anything weird out there, but nobody admitted anything. So I didn't elaborate on it. But that was it. I never heard or seen anything else down there. I did go back that way much at all. I think he meant you didn't go back that way much at all after that. Not by myself, anyway. Now, after seeing and hearing story after story, I've got a good idea what it was. Me too. Thank you for all you do, brother. Keep up the awesome job. If you are ever near Carrollton, Georgia, there's a beer and a good steak waiting for you. Thanks, your friend and a member of the club. All right, man. Appreciate that invite, and you just never know. You just never know. I might take you up on that. I was starting to think about springtime this year because I will 100% be down in Alabama. And I have a friend in Georgia, a young fella that was up here working in the north packing for an outfitter I did a hunt for, a real good kid. He's a lawyer down there now, and I just might go and see him too. And that might put me right beside you. You never know. And you know what else I might do this year? I might even drive down this time. Just to see the land. Who knows? Maybe bump into a bunch of people, but I might drive all the way down and just go for it. I was thinking about that the other day. There you go. This next email is titled Sasquatch Dream. Hey Steve, this is Joe. I'm 58 years old, Navy veteran who went to work for General Dynamics in San Diego, working on the Tomahawk cruise missile project, then moved over to the Atlas Centaur building. I've held a confidential and a secret security clearance while working at General Dynamics. I have my feet planted on the ground pretty well, and my mind as open as one can be. But enough of that. I commend you on all the time and effort you put into the subject and all the knowledge that I'm gaining from other people's experiences. Something happened about 6 months ago while I was asleep having a dream. I had just fallen asleep, and this dream was me and this Sasquatch were getting together to do something. I don't know what that something was, but it didn't matter because I was awakened from a loud bang on the metal frame of my bed. I woke up confused, thinking, did this really just happen and why? The best I can figure is something didn't want me and the Sasquatch to get together. I have very intense dreams that sometimes continue the next night and the next. Holy shit, that's crazy. I think about the Sasquatch dream quite often and wonder what that was about. I wanted to get this off my chest and out there. Maybe someone else has had similar experience. I've had many cryptid experiences, especially with Sasquatch. I'll get them to you as soon as I can. Again, thank you for all that you do. God bless you and Sarah and your pet friends. All right, lay her down in the comment section below, Army. Lay it down. Yeah, I don't know. I've been looking into the dream world and out-of-body world lately. Might have something to do with that, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what people say in the comment section below. Face-to-face sighting. Unlocked many memories. It's so bizarre how our memory can be erased. It's either us doing it, or is it others doing it? You know what I mean? So bizarre. And sometimes I wonder, I wonder if I've got anything knocked out of my memory. I wonder, right? Any one of us could have, because I believe it is factual. There's truth to it. Don't you think? Now, how else would the dirtbags get us in line? Hey Steve, Matthew here. First off, thanks for all you do for those of us who have been conflicted by the reality of experiencing these beings. I'm grateful for all the info shared here through you and the community. I don't want this to get too long, so I'll get to it. To the best of my memory, my face-to-face went like this. I'd lay down to go to sleep when an extreme awareness came over me. The atmosphere changed. It felt heavy. Almost like I was underwater, but not quite. I knew there was something outside. As it has been described many times here, I felt my hair turn to wire. I looked to the window, anticipating its reveal, as if told where to look. Its shape began to fill the window. It was darker than night, except for its yellow glowing eyes. Let me read that again. It was darker than night, all except for its yellow glowing eyes. I felt what I can only explain as an electrical shock as I looked into its eyes. Terrified and amazed, but mostly terrified. It only lasted a few moments before I blacked out until morning. Its head surpassed the window, which was on the side of the house where the ground sloped. Its shoulders wider than the window, which would fit at least 2, probably 3 of me side by side. There was a circle in the grass, all matted 4 or 5 feet in diameter, down the hill in the direction he walked from the window. This broke the dam of my repressed memories. I was young, maybe 6, 7, but I strayed from my dad and went to the end of the road. We lived on a U-shaped street that connected to a road on both ends that ran horizontal. I remember turning left when my school was to the right, so I never really went this way. I walked up to the next house and started walking on the grass. And needless to say, everything about this was unusual. I seen a woman covered in brown hair standing in front of a line of trees. She had a kid on her back and one in her arms. They were all looking at me. Crazy. A woman covered in brown hair. One more time. A woman covered in brown hair. So many people don't get it, right? They were each directly in front of a tree. I remember the woman was smiling. They all had very wide, flat noses, almost like some African Americans, only wider. What happened next? The events and their order are a bit foggy, but I know my father had run down the street to me and was yelling my name in panic. I didn't move. The owner of the house came outside at the same time he arrived. I was frozen. I couldn't move my legs, but I turned to see the man coming out of the house. He greeted us, and they spoke. I think he must have left out my dad, and they spoke. He and his family just moved in, I heard him say. I looked past my father and around 4 yards behind him. The hairy woman and her kids were still there. I looked back and forth from them to Dad and to the man, and they paid them no mind, as if they couldn't see them, and they couldn't. I couldn't move, and I couldn't talk. I was carried home. There was tension in the air. It remained in my parents' voices while they spoke. My mother got us kids in the car and drove us to our grandparents almost immediately. They don't remember any of it. This all happened in Connecticut, by the way. My sister and I experienced beings that came into our room at night. She was woken by a woman in an old-fashioned dress, hovering in the middle of the room watching her. That's kind of creepy. Another time, the same woman woke her by lifting up her head and back, hugging and holding her. Then there was the little girl that sat at the end of her bed. I awoke one night and saw my sister sitting on my brother's bed. I sat up, called her name, and asking, "What are you doing?" But she didn't answer. So I got up and sat down next to her. I turned toward her, and the figure went from sitting on the edge in the middle of the bed to down on the floor with its knees up to its chest very quickly. I looked to my sister's bed, and there she was, sleeping. I quickly climbed back in bed, pulled the blanket over my head, and went back to sleep. It's not like I wasn't freaked out. I just had become used to these things happening, and probably didn't want to go through the whole waking mom for her to tell me it was a dream when it wasn't. Little did I know at the time my sister was going to my mother and telling her strikingly similar stories to the ones I was telling her. My mother couldn't deny the similarities and began to believe that what we were experiencing was not just our imagination. Right on. Glad to hear that part. Not long after, my mother was trying to sleep. She was downstairs on the couch. It was hot and she had the fan on. Well, the fan turned off. Confused, she got up to turn it back on. When she did, the television turned on. She went to turn the TV off, and when she did, the fan turned off. And it kept happening, she said. Then there was the thing that looked like my father. He worked third shift. I awoke to him standing at my dresser, picking something up off of it and looking at it intently. I called to him, and he very quickly dropped whatever he had and left the room. I could see the stairs from my bed, and I seen him as he went down them. Made no noise through the stairs, though the stairs would always creak. I went to my mom and asked where Dad was, and she told me he was at work. I told her, I just seen him, he's in my room. Come to find out, my sister had also seen what looked like my father in my room, and at my dresser doing the same thing a number of times. There is a bit more, but if you do read this, I'll have taken up more than enough time. Thanks, Steve. Jesus, pattern for the win. I think that's a typo. Jesus, pray for the win? All right, there you go. Boom. Not the first person to inform us that children can see them and adults can't at times. Why? I think because a lot of children were still born with our natural given abilities. And some kids probably have stronger than others, and they didn't get erased out that quick, like the rest of us have had it erased intentionally. I bet my life on that one. At this stage of the learning game, right? Bet my life on it. Holy shit, it's raining out there. Appreciate that share. And I have had something very similar happen to me in a house too, with the TV coming on and off. And then even after I unplugged it. Not into that shit. But it's real. Very real. Okay, I'm going to read one more. I still got battery left in that sucker? I think I do. Guess we'll find out if it shuts off. 13-year-old with a 1,000-yard stare. That's the title of this email. Hello, Steve. First of all, I'd like to thank you. More than I can articulate. You may share my name, Kevin Valentine, because I need to force myself and the universe to accept me for who I am. A 58-year-old man who's tired of the lies and the ease of certain people, including family, to laugh off and humiliate a person's beliefs. Is it beliefs or is it just a person's knowledge, right? But thanks for being a brave, honest man. Let's get into it. My encounter happened when I was 13 in the summer of '79. My family and I, which including my mom, stepdad, and 3 younger brothers, have moved up to the Sierra Nevada mountains, just east of a town called Mariposa, California, about 25 miles from Yosemite National Park. My stepfather was not the kindest of persons when it came to his family responsibilities. This was like the 3rd or 4th house we had moved to in a year, which was typical every year. There's some issues there. I enjoyed the outdoors and exploring the woods around our house. It was my escape. I would search for caves and look for quartz crystals. I seemed to have a knack for finding both. Well, a few of my stepdad's nephews had come to the house for a weekend stay. They were in their 20s and the kind of people a naive kid should not associate with, but being a kid looking for approval and wanting to feel included, I mentioned to one of them about an old cabin I had found on top of a mountain behind our place and how it had all kinds of cool old stuff still inside. I was that kid too, trying to fit in. For a long time, trying to fit in. And never really feeling like you did. Well, yeah, definitely not fitting in. One of my cousins wanted me to take him to the cabin. I said, sure, not knowing he was just looking for stuff to steal. We head out to the cabin at about 5 in the evening, thinking we had plenty of time to be back before dark since it was about 2 miles away. Besides, I'm with an adult, right? To make a long story short, we started heading home, but we had stayed way too long and it was getting dark. We ended up going the wrong direction home and got lost. After several hours of hiking in the dark, we came across another cabin in a small valley that was very bad shape, with a wall or two missing, causing the interior to be exposed to the elements. We were tired and scared, so we decided to try and sleep under an old rug that was in the shack. Ew. The night went uneventful except for being cold, and an owl which sounded like it was in the cabin with us, hooting it all night. Let me read that again, sorry. The night went uneventful except for being cold, and an owl which sounded like it was in the cabin with us, hooting all night. We were up at first light trying to figure out which way to go. When I glanced up the hillside next to the cabin, I saw what I thought was a cave opening about 75 yards up the hill. It looked to be wide enough for 2 people to walk in side by side and just as high. And at that instant I thought, cool, I'm going to go have to check it out. When all of a sudden I heard a massive roar. This sounded far away, that ended in an almost whisper-like sound right next to me. And that dark cave opening started barreling down the hill towards us. Oh, crazy. We were standing in an old dried riverbed that ran next to the cabin. I turned to look at my cousin, not knowing what to do. I think I was in shock. He was already running on and was at least 50 yards ahead of me. I took off running as fast as I could, trying to catch him. I stopped because my nose started bleeding and was out of breath. Everything was silent, except for my heart pounding and my breath. My cousin was out of sight, and as I started walking to catch my breath, I noticed something was mimicking my steps with a slight delay, just to the right of me, sounding just a few yards away behind some tall scrub brush and saplings in the creek bed. When I stepped, it stepped. When I breathed, it would breathe. I felt like I was in a quiet room with something I could not see, when all of a sudden I could hear my parents calling for me in the distance. I took off running towards their voices, and finally seeing them at the backside of our property fence line, my cousin was with them, and I asked him what was that chasing us, and he denied hearing or seeing anything. Even though I was in shock with a bloody nose and having what felt like what little hold I had on reality was just stripped from me, I was in trouble for inconveniencing my stepdad to have to look for me. I stopped telling people what happened and or asking what that could have been because of ridicule and realizing people would rather accuse others of lying than to accept the truth for fear of a paradigm shift of their reality. This messed me up mentally and spiritually, so I can understand the reaction of others saying it's bullshit or demonic. In the mid-90s, my girlfriend and I was taking a hike up at a place called Ingalls Ranch, just outside of a town called Tulum, in the Sierra Nevada range of California. After the hike, we started to head back to my vehicle when we noticed a large human footprint in the soft dirt of the road right in front of my vehicle. It was half again as big as my size 12, one print, within inches of my front bumper, as if to say, here I am. Also, what appeared to be a smeared handprint in the dust on the hood of my car. It started to freak my girlfriend out, but, in a weird way, eased my mind as if it was saying, you're not crazy, and I am real. There was no reason to do what it did to me back in '79 unless it knew what I was thinking and knew I would be back to explore, and did not want that. There are so many mysteries and miracles in each person's life, most of which we never see. Like thinking of someone, and all of a sudden the phone rings, and it's that person, or thinking of a song and you turn on the radio only to have that song playing. We are powerful beings, beautiful and scary at the same time. And P.S., through a lot of seeking and searching for answers, I found that I could disrupt night vision with a remote control. TV, DVD does not matter, because the infrared light on the remote messes with night vision. Oh, yeah, I get ya. Yeah, I would too, without a doubt. I think, well, if anybody could do that, that's an old remote control too, probably, right? I'm guessing, but I can see that. It doesn't take much to mess with night vision. I was just looking at on my phone. I was looking at some trail camera clips that I download while I'm in the woods with my SD card reader. And there's an eerie looking clip, kind of cool looking clip, where it showed a couple of deer bouncing along the snow at nighttime, and they lit up the trail camera that caught them, and then all of a sudden you see this light mottled shadows go boom, way off in the distance in the forest, and it was one of my other trail cameras on the same trail going off. But the infrared light is so bright. It's so bright. And I could imagine if you had like a Sony Handycam or something with night vision on it, any video camera with night vision on it, and you were to go walking straight at a trail camera that's turned on. I haven't done it, but I would imagine if you started walking straight at a trail camera, looking at the screen on a video recorder, which is set for night vision, it would probably be blinding. I'm guessing. So there you go. And there you go. Another brave, honest person coming forward with information. Now, I gotta get moving. I got stuff to do while we're still here. I think Sarah and I have 2 weeks left here, just under, and we go on our yearly holiday. She's all proud of herself because she's got some app or something that does price matching or something when she gets groceries, and she gets points when she does that. And she's been saving her points and saving her points and saving her points all year, and she's all proud of herself because she reached her goal of being able to buy and pay for our plane tickets with her points from grocery shopping. So there you go. And she got the points too from shopping for the kids too, which we got to get another shop done before we go. I was hoping to get that done for Christmas, but that's only days. We might be able to pull that off before Christmas. But anyway. What else? I think that's about it. The youth house. There's only 5 of those in the whole world. That's it. And then there's 75. Is 50 or 75? I don't know. Of the ones dead center. And then she has her new logo coming soon as well. But I don't think she'll be... I have a feeling she won't be able to get to those until we get back from holidays. Maybe we'll see. Because the mail strike really screwed that shit up. And that's about it for this morning. I could go on and on, but it's a rainy day. I'm going to, I want to get back into sharing hunting knowledge and hunting stories. And so I've got some great stories from this year. I'm going to put in a video form. I'm going to put them on my other YouTube channel, the How To Hunt channel. And as well, that's another thing I want to do is get my ass in gear with the website and redo it for How To Hunt and get some stuff on there to help people on the website, freshen it up, get it ripping. And I spent a whole pile of money to get my hunting apps to stream their videos smoothly again. Apple and Android change their shit nonstop, which makes apps not function. And then you get hate mail, and then I got to get my geeks to fix it because I can't fix it. It frustrates the living shit out of me. And then it takes them forever to fix it, or I just can't get somebody to fix it, and there's nothing I can do. Well, anyways, they're all going smooth. I'll have links for those on the website, and I will be doing nonstop entries throughout the year this year for different seasons and what I would typically be doing with all sorts of different hunting to make it happen next fall. And I'm going to start sharing all that knowledge because it's very important to do that. And that's it. Enough babbling for now. Share my story at howtohunt.com. Please stop fearing anyone or anything and spread that confidence whenever you can. And maybe think about somehow could we start a trending sentence to get in the public eye just to let some of these missing children, whoever know, we are looking for you. You know what I mean? Some kind of a sentence. We're looking for you. We're trying to find you. Don't give up. We're trying to find you. Something, anything, right? Right? When you picture yourself being in that position, probably got some freaking monster parasite piece of shit walking beside you down the sidewalk somewhere. You're terrified. You're too terrified to say one word. You're in line doing what you're told. Otherwise, you're just going to get beat or something. And then all of a sudden there's something on a billboard or a sign or a sticker on a telephone pole, anything that says, don't give up, we're trying to find you, we're looking for you. We are looking for you. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Throw it down in the comment section below, talk about that with each other, and see if we can get some kind of just a few simple words of encouragement that have absolute power behind them, and see if we can get that going mainstream around the globe, right? While many caring people do look for them, right? There you go. The decals, the decals, the stickers in the store. The youth hats are there, and make sure you get your truth emailed into me at shareMyStory@howtohunt.com. All right, and I will be back tomorrow, without a doubt.
Ready? A little shaky. Let's go. Here we go. Sit up. You did it. Adventure dog is up the river. There are bear tracks everywhere. Big buck tracks coming down. And you want to go check them out, don't you? All right, let's do this.